Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for Casual Conversations with Local Women in Business. This is being recorded because, we know many of you are returning to work or you couldn't tune in at this time. So we wanted you to be able to see this later. So thank you to everyone who registered and those who are participating with us. As a chamber, we've hosted several business calls to educate people on unemployment or various business topics that we've all been dealing with in this community. But today we're excited to start a little bit different of a series. Since we didn't get to have our Women in Business Luncheon, which is honestly one of my very favorite events we put on each year, we wanted to create something positive for women in our community specifically. We usually bring in an outside speaker for the luncheon. I think it would be really cool to get to know women in business in our community. Women who've paved the way for us, for women like me, and are doing and have done some really amazing things. So we created, like I said, this Casual Conversations with Local Women in Business. And I do appreciate everyone bearing with us. This is the first webinar that we've done, so it's also a practice session. I am a millennial, but I am almost 40 in a couple of years. So I feel like I understand enough technology to be a little bit dangerous. So thank you for being patient with us. If something goes weird or whatever, we're going to figure it out. There's a feature I explained that touches up your appearance. So I'm really excited about that one because it makes me look a little bit younger and less wrinkles. But we're going to move on. So today we're going to hear from three women who I've had the privilege to know over the past several years. They are all Chamber Award winners. Amy is one of our board members, but she is the reigning Citizen of the Year just last year.
Reigning.
Betsy has always been a huge supporter of the Chamber through CFSB and her staff, and even now in retirement. She was our very first Women in Business winner. And Kelly was our Women in Business winner in 2018. She's also been a finalist for Emerging Business of the Year. We know her from Schaefer Coffee. And she has actually been a Chamber ambassador for many, many years. So I know these three women very well. And I look forward to you getting to know them better during this time. So we're going to get started. Like I said, you may know these women by name or just by acquaintance, but today we're going to get to know a little bit about them. So we're going to start with Amy, if you would. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and those who are watching so we can get to know you better.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Michelle and Haley and the Chamber for putting this call together. I always look forward to the Women in Business Luncheon, and I was sad that we couldn't do that this year. So, but I appreciate the invitation to be on this panel, and I thank you for that opportunity. Just a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Marshall County. I went to Murray State University and graduated from there in 1992 with a degree in finance. I have two children, Bailey, who is 25, married to Addison, and the cutest little grandson you ever saw, Josiah. My daughter, Ellie, is 21 and works here in the community as a cosmetologist. I began my career in banking at 17, actually. I started as a part-time teller for a bank in Marshall County and worked my way through college and ended up loving, I was intended to be an attorney, but I ended up loving what I was doing and the opportunities that it gave to me. After I graduated, I started full-time there in the bank and just kind of worked my way through the ranks. I've had many different hats and roles within banking and truly loved each one of them. Some I learned more in than others. So yeah, I mean, I've just been in banking my whole career, 32 years this year. So just a day or two. I don't have Betsy beat, but I'm knocking on her door. I'm just kidding. So that's a little bit about me, and look forward to hearing any questions later that you guys may have.
All right, Betsy, let's hear a little bit about you.
Hi, everyone. Well, first of all, I want to salute our awesome business women that are at our chamber. Thanks for the great job that you all do. I love seeing women in leadership positions. One reason that I love seeing that is women bring something unique to a leadership position. They are the best team leaders and coaches because they're natural leaders in that mode. They believe in teamwork. They don't have the testosterone to get in their way with their ego. So I just want to salute you all for the job that you do, first of all. I was in banking for 44 years. I didn't start until I was 32 because I had taken time off from work to stay home with my children when they were young. And I remember the lady that was my first supervisor at the bank. Somebody needs to mute their microphone. I remember my lady that was the first supervisor at the bank said that she just hated it when people over 30 started because they couldn't remember anything. So I still chuckle about that today. But she was also one of my biggest supporters. I also have 2 children and reared other children during the years at my home. And I have 5 grandchildren, 8 step grandchildren, and 1 great granddaughter who is the apple of my eye. So family is wonderful. And another thing I've always noticed different about men and women is that even though we're devoted to our careers, our family always comes first. And so it's wonderful to be retired, but I love my 44 years of banking. I had the opportunity to work in every position of the bank, and it was absolutely awesome to get to do that. Banking is a people business, as Amy knows, and Amy, you got lots more years to catch up with my 44, hun. But banking is a people business, and I firmly believe that we're put on this earth to help other people. And I was in a position to do that every single day. And something has happened to my screen.
I can still see you, Betsy.
Okay. Now I can see you.
I think we're waiting on Kelly to get her video feature. So we'll go ahead and move on. Oh, there she is. Let me see here. You'll have to unmute yourself, Kelly. There you go.
Just lost everything. Had to get Mike in here. Hi, I'm Kelly Harlan. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm with Schaefer Coffee, and we've been in business for 3 years. I'm pretty much from Murray, Kentucky. I was born in West Virginia, but pretty much raised here. This has been an unusual. Mike and I really never have stopped working through this pandemic. We've kind of, I shut down the coffee shop for about a week until we could get some, our website up where we could do online ordering. And so then we just did curbside. Has it affected us? Very much so. We've, our sales are, I mean, they're down extremely low. We were up this year like 20% in sales, and we're down like 30% now. So it's been pretty bad, but it's been very encouraging also, because there's been so many community people that just keep coming by every day just to keep us, you know, there's to keep us in business. And it's just been really neat to see people. We go outside and we talk to them in their car, but it's been stressful and my anxiety level's been up. But the thing that's got me through is the word, getting in the word every day and just being encouraged by him.
So like Kelly said, it's we heard about the virus across the globe, and then weren't sure if we should take it serious or not, and then it got really serious. And I was telling the panel earlier, it was Friday the 13th of March when we had to make the call to cancel our breakfast for the following week. It was also before I got to get my hair done, which I got done on Monday. So that's good. But I think we've all struggled, at least at that time, with how serious to take everything. So, Betsy, why don't you share with us, like, what was going through your mind when you sort of saw things start closing down and how serious the virus was becoming? Tell us, what was going through your mind at that time.
Now, it was interesting that back in January, of course, we had our disaster planning at the bank. And back in January, we started planning for a pandemic. And some of us were saying, well, let's plan for an ice storm first because that's more likely than a pandemic. And of course, look what happened. So as it started rolling out in March, I was extremely concerned. And of course, we were getting ready to open our new location at 12th and Sycamore. So that was very much on my mind. And we did get to have it open for a week before we had to close it. But the main thing that was going through my mind, Michelle, was just the safety of our team members and our clients and everyone that I knew. I'm not sure that I took it as seriously as I should have at first. I'm naturally an optimist, and I thought that it would really blow over, but we actually started having daily team meetings on March 16th in order to start preparing, and then things unrolled so quickly. The main thing that I have thought is that our nation was woefully unprepared for this, and can you imagine what would have happened if it had been worse? So I am hoping that our leaders in Washington, I think our state leaders have done a good job. I'm hoping that our leaders in Washington will take steps that we're not dependent on other countries for all of our prescriptions, for masks, for so many things. What if this had been a war? We would have really, really been woefully unprepared. So what I am hoping for is that we will learn lots of lessons from this. The fact that a country the size of the United States had to ask a small country like South Korea is embarrassing, and shame on us. Our country is greater than that. So my biggest thought through all of this is let's learn all that we can so that we will be prepared again. And my heart has ached for our small businesses and what this has done to them. I think it could have been handled so much better instead of shutting them down. Our small businesses are much more prepared to control the number of people entering their business than the Walmart and Lowe's and the superstores are. And I had to go to Sam's early on to try to get some supplies for the bank as far as disinfectant and what have you go. There were all kinds of people down there where our small stores had to shut down. And I just think that that was handled totally wrong. But again, hopefully we learned something, and hopefully with the aid that was approved, our small businesses can survive. Because when I hear someone like Kelly talk about what their business has been through, that is multiplied thousands and thousands of times. And that is the thing that has bothered me the most, as well as seeing people that have not taken this seriously and do not have respect for others. If they don't take it seriously for themselves, they certainly should for others. In China, when people wear masks, which they do often, not just during this, they say that they do it out of respect for others, and shame on us that we don't do that too.
Yeah, those are some great thoughts, and talking about the big picture, the country and all that. We actually have a call with Senator McConnell next week to talk about some of those same things. So I think we're going to throw it to you now. Tell us just what were your thoughts when you first heard it was, and what went through your mind?
Did you say Kelly or Amy?
Kelly.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't hear you. Yeah, at first I was just really optimistic we'd be up and running in 2 to 3 weeks. It would blow over. I mean, I set in place like a whole lot of different. Like we clean and sanitize already, but there's a whole lot of things that we set in place, policies, changes, and all that such.
I've got it muted right now.
I just thought that we were just gonna, this was gonna blow over pretty quick. So, but it didn't. And I have seen the positive that I've seen out of this is like policies and that kind of stuff. You kind of set these into motion as you see the need. Well, we've got the online curbside ordering. That's been a hit, and people are still using it and they like it. And so there's been some positive through this, but overall mostly negative. So
I know it's very discouraging when
it's been discouraging.
Yes,
but
our heart, like Betsy said, just the small business impact has just been hard.
Yes.
obviously the chamber, our community is filled with small businesses. That's what makes our community so unique. People love coming here to visit for the restaurants and the experiences like Schaefer. We feel for you, and we appreciate you taking the time today just to share, how you've really felt. I think we've all been on those emotional roller coasters.
Oh, it's been an emotional roller coaster. Mike's had to keep me kind of leveled out at times, but
yes,
that's just my personality too. So
I think I've visited every emotion during this time.
yes,
It's been interesting for all of us. Well, Amy, we'll kick it to you. Tell us what was going through your mind when all this started.
Well, I too am an optimist, so I was looking on the bright side of everything. However, I do have employees that had health issues, had compromised health issues, and we needed to make sure that we were protecting them. Alongside of that, we needed to make sure we were taking care of customers and community people. Banks were considered essential, so we continued, working every day. Of course, with closed lobbies, you're doing things you wouldn't typically do through the drive-through, but you're doing it and you're making it work. I will say I was very thankful for the financial support that with the PPP loans, the Paycheck Protection loans, and the EIDL and so forth. Do I think it could have been better? Yeah, I mean, we were morning of when it opened up, we still didn't even have final guidance on a lot of the issues of how to deal with a self-employed borrower or a farmer or a S corp. So they kind of threw it at us a little at a time, and I will say that customers were very, very patient as best as they could. Of course, there's all different, like, Kelly talked about her personality. It's more of an anxious personality. You have some that are laid back. So you had everything coming at you, but the uncertainty that everybody was experiencing of, some were taking it serious, some were taking it not serious at all. And you're having to try to balance all of that in the middle and still meet needs of customers and small businesses and even larger businesses that, they didn't know how long this was going to shut them down. And so while everything was preparing them, for an 8-week period, some of those, that wasn't long enough. They couldn't call their people back because they weren't allowed to open, but yet they had to pay them with the, so there were some challenges that I think that even with the help that was afforded out there to them, there were still some challenges with that. I'm very, very thankful that I saw the communities step up. And like Kelly said, people are still going by and ordering things. I see drive-throughs are cram-packed with people. And a lot of people truly took it to heart of let's support our small businesses. Betsy, I agree with you in the fact that I hated seeing the smaller businesses shut down, but then the big box stores still being able to open. I mean, there were more people inside of there that couldn't be controlled, and people getting upset with one another because they were walking the wrong way down the aisle. So, those things were harder to control that I think our smaller businesses could have. So I agree with you on that. I think that maybe things could have been handled a little differently. However, I will say this was new to everyone. This was something that totally caught everybody by surprise. Were we prepared? Absolutely not. Did we handle everything to the T? No, we did not. Have we learned from it? I sure hope so. And I agree that having industry abroad that we need here in the United States, I hope that we have learned from that. Medicines, like Betsy said, supplies, different things that are being produced overseas that are truly necessities to us. Maybe we need to be looking at bringing some industry back to America and taking care of us. We weren't prepared, but how can you prepare for something like this? So I've been encouraged along the way of seeing the support throughout the community. I've been encouraged to see families reprioritize some and spend dinners at home, walking down the street. I've never seen so many people walking or bike riding or out in the yard playing ball. And that's been wonderful, because I think that we have gotten to a point in our lives where we're so busy with sports or with whatever it is, meetings or whatever, that we've lost what's really and truly a priority, and we've had to reprioritize. And I think that has been encouraging for me to see.
That's good. A few things you hit on were, obviously the PPP and, Congress passed this big thing and then they're like, figure it out. So I want to thank our bankers for
Definitely.
And I've never learned so many, SBA, PPP, EIDL, all these different acronyms. I felt like I was just listening to conference calls and studying, but you guys were on the front lines figuring it out and also explaining it to our small businesses and customers. So we appreciate our bankers during this time, and for sure. So thank you both.
The chamber did a wonderful job. They did a wonderful job with reading and listening and digesting information and putting it back out to the members for them to be able to understand it, because there was so much information coming from all different directions, and not all of it was 100% accurate. But I think you guys did a wonderful job in deciphering it and putting it back out to the members in a way that was understandable, and I appreciate that. That helped us.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And another thing you mentioned was industry. Murray would love to welcome anybody, Murray and any industry wants to relocate to the States. We'd love to have them here. So it's a great place to live and to bring a business. But to kind of finish it out, anybody who's on here who wants to ask a question, also I'd like to mention, feel free to ask in the chat. Haley, our wonderful Director of Membership, is on here and would be happy to filter any questions you may have for any of these wonderful women today. But just to close us out here, we'll start with you, Betsy. Just anything that has encouraged you during this time. Maybe it's something you've read, or maybe it's out in your beautiful garden, I love watching on Facebook, your just flowers. I could just come and sit probably and sip a cup of coffee just to relax. But just share with us like people or something that has impacted you, or maybe years down the road when you look back on this time, what will you remember? So just share some positive things with us.
Well, congratulations to Haley for getting married during this time. I'm sure they'll always remember that. But what has impressed me, Michelle, is the way that individuals and companies have stepped up. People did not wait for the federal government to make masks, to do these different things, just to see the way that our industries, our schools, Murray State and WKCTC have stepped up, and our vocational school, to make the things that were needed in our community. What has really impressed me that is the way that people have pulled together, and that is what has made this community strong. It's what makes our country strong. And I agree with Amy that I love seeing the kids out on their bicycles and their scooters and families walking. I think it has brought back to us what is really, really important in this world, and the kind things that people do with each other, do for each other. And when I see, just in my neighborhood, there is not a single older person, I don't count myself as one of those, by the way, that is not being checked on to make sure that they're okay. And I have 2 chairs out in front of my garage. I have company just about every day. We sit out there and talk. And when I hear people say, oh, I want to get out of this house, good heavens, nobody says you have to stay in the house. So I've loved it that people have gotten out and done things. The one thing that has disappointed me is seeing all the complaining on Facebook. Everybody is doing the best they can. This is a first for our president, our governor, our county officials, our businesses. So I think everybody's doing the best they can. And as Amy said, the news changes daily, but we just have to deal with it the best we can. And I feel like as a nation that we will be stronger from this. I think that we will be more self-sufficient. And I certainly pray, as I said earlier, that we have learned a lesson. But what I have loved is seeing people step up.
That's great. Kelly, you want to share with us some positive things that you've had or experienced during this time?
Yes. Well, one being, more quality time with the family. It's typically we're with running two businesses. We're, going here, there, and around even after work. And so it's been nice just to go home and kind of chill in the afternoons. I'm not going to lie about that. It's been nice. We shortened our hours at Schaefer just because the demand was low. But one thing that I have been super encouraged by is the young kids that work for me. They have just been very encouraging, very uplifting, just very positive. And it's been kind of fun, to be honest, to have the Schaefer to ourselves during the day. And we've eaten lunch together. We've kind of become a little bonded family there. And we've got to know each other a little better. The 4 chairs that we have, we called that our office. And, because we'd make some drinks and we'd sit down and talk. So we've gotten to know each other a lot better. And that's been encouraging and just kind of fun. So, but we're ready for customers to come back in the doors every day, all day. So
We talked about the iced coffee earlier, so
yes, all the iced drinks and lattes, they're becoming real popular, cold brews. So people are eager to get back out and we've had several customers coming in already and just sitting and doing some of their office work. So it's been neat.
that's great. All right, Amy, your turn. Oh, you're on mute.
There we go. I'm not a millennial, so techie things are kind of iffy with me. I think that some of the encouragement I've seen through this are, like Betsy said, people stepping up to help one another, reaching out to the elderly or the compromised, or even the families that are single parent that may have to stay home with the kids that might need some. I've seen so much of that, and that's been encouraging. I think I've seen a lot of people reprioritizing, as I mentioned earlier, spending more family time. I'm very thankful that my kids were past the NTI thing and I didn't have to do that. Sorry, Michelle. I don't know how you did it, or all of these parents. But you know what? Everybody did it, and their kids made it through it, and they'll never forget this. This is something that they will forever remember and hopefully learn from. And it was a different time, but we all did it. We all stepped up. It's not over. We're still in it, but we're making those steps every day to open back up to a new normal. And I've seen a lot of posts about wanting to get back to normal, but what normal are we wanting to get back to? Do we want to get back to the running around like chickens with our heads cut off and not spending any time together, or not checking on our neighbors, or not? No, I think that the new normal is going to be remembering that Steve down the road came by and checked on me, or whatever it might be. So I hope that's our new normal as we acclimate ourselves back into community and back into work and having people in. I appreciate that people are wearing the masks and taking care of. I don't enjoy it. I know others don't either, but our front lines have been doing that the whole time, and they should be commended and lifted up. So I think that just don't get caught up in the little things, but appreciate them. So that's what I have been encouraged by.
That's great. I think it's interesting that, no one shared a book they were reading. It's all been people, and it's what makes our community so great. I will say for me, my friends, group texts, there's been days when I felt like jumping off the cliff and they saved me, brought me back. And there's been days they felt like jumping off the cliff and I brought them back. So, it's just been, like we said earlier, a roller coaster. but I think we're all in this together, like, you know, you've all said, and we're here to encourage and lift each other up. And, you know, I think our theme will be together we rise up, you know, rising up together. You know, we've gone through this challenge as a community. How can we learn from it and move forward and support one another? So we really appreciate you guys. Haley, do we have any questions, any burning questions? So. Nope. Okay. Well, if you guys have any other thoughts or anything else that came to your mind you'd like to share, I just want to open it up, you know, to you three now to share anything before we get off here. Anything new?
Just thank you again for the opportunity. This has been different, but enjoyable. So good seeing you ladies, Kelly and Betsy, and Haley and Michelle. And I just, if anybody out there has any questions or thoughts or need to talk about anything, give one of us a call. We'd be glad to talk with you.
And I will look forward to seeing all of our women in business back together.
Yes, definitely.
Our ladies that are leaders and participants in our community do a great job, and my hat's off to them. Thank you to everyone that is managing a business. And I have been so impressed with their CFSB team that they're still meeting daily and still seeing everything they can do to help their clients. And I know that that is what every single business is doing.
Well, thank you all again. Thank you to everyone who participated today. And tomorrow we have another special panel, which we will hear from Jennifer Stubblefield and Sharon Burgess, also Women in Business winners. Unfortunately, Lisa won't be with us, but we'll be sure to continue these because I just love getting to know women in our community. So I think these could be a really fun series for us to continue as we're all sort of still used to or getting used to these video chats. So we hope you have a great day, and hopefully you all can join us again tomorrow. So we'll see you later.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you.